Good morning, everybody. Jack Leeson with StartupTrading.com. It is 9:15 here on the 5th of September. And the title of this video is Extension Top of the Range Traditional Bottom. So I'm going to go to the NASDAQ. We're looking at an hourly chart. I'm back out here a few days to get the whole picture. This is, I think it's a 20-day hourly chart. We are inside of this extension short, which I went over yesterday. But what I want to show you is, once again, using this single print study that I have, the hourly single print lines up perfectly with that resistance that we ran into yesterday. And I'm going to go ahead and go to a 5-minute chart just so I can show you guys that anchor. I believe it's that morning. There was a couple anchors we were watching, and they all had participation. But that morning traditional anchor we saw trade, this traded at 11 o'clock on, I believe it was at Tuesday, and that same anchor new low, and you could draw it a couple different ways. You could draw it to the overnight lows, you could draw it to the RTH lows. They both traded and would not have been stopped out. They hit their first targets before ever moving against them. But anyway, that is the resistance level, and once again, that lesson I did the other day talking about lining up single prints with extensions is just more confluence. This is just another example of that. But what we have here, at the bottom of the range is this next traditional. If you guys remember back on what was August 8th, there was an end of the day sell-off that actually just brought us below the 61, and I literally it was actually on the 7th that we sold off, and then there was there was an open and immediate wash and bid, which I just saw as a total shakeout, and was talking about in the room that day that we were going to get a potentially very large reversal, and that we did. That candle was 851 points, 851 points, top to bottom, straight up. And this volatility was extreme at that point in time. But we have now come down into the next traditional from that the low of the 8th to high, and it seems like that's where we're kind of getting our base here. We saw this level have participation on the open yesterday, and then we washed down, liquidity grab through the lows of the day, and then immediately back up to the top of the range. Well, here we are again today, and we are getting and seeing some of the participation or support, basically defending the prior day's overnight low here. So we are on that as the bottom range. As far as where we left off into the close yesterday, I didn't trade after lunch, but we had a breakdown back to the prior low of the day, and then we ran up into the 50% retracement short, which is also completed here. Now, you have to ask yourself the question, are we going to hold that next measured move? And that's where the participation has come from this morning here at 8:30 in the back of, I'm sure what was a news event, judging by the time of that candle. But if we squeeze above this 61, if we start bidding above, I would expect a range bound market between 18,928 to the 18,885 area before the market decides. But I'm assuming that upon a break, and I don't remember Perry's exact levels with the value areas, but upon a break, if we open below the value area and trigger that value 80% rule Perry mentioned in his plan, which is basically rotating to the top of value, which he had at 19,045. I remember him specifically saying that is going to take us back into a retest of what is the 38% retracement of the extension short I have, which is at 19,036. So I'm long here going into the open with the anticipation that happens. And then a lot needs to line up. We're going to need to break shorts. We need to take out some overnight lows, but we're kind of like, call it a bear flag, whatever. I don't really pay a whole lot of attention to like traditional chart patterns, but we've washed out overnight stops, immediately caught a bid. If we can get follow through this next short, I think we're going to squeeze all the way basically back up to the top of the range. Not that I think that's going to happen in a straight line, but that would be my overall thesis for the day. Now, opposing my thesis, because let's always look at the other side of the market, let's say we hold the short, we stay below 19,000, 18,950s off the open, we're going to be looking at moving down into new lows of the week, looking down into completing the 18,790 targets, and then maybe even getting the full negative 23 here today, but I think they're going to save that for non-farm payroll later this week, and we can rotate all the way up into this 38 and still complete this by Friday. So that's what I'm interested in seeing, if we can come back up to the top of the range and hold this extension again here. And if we by chance do have a very bearish market off the open and dump, can't break the next traditional, I would look and anticipate us to come down and at least complete the 18,790 target at that point in time. If momentum is kind of fading to the downside, if there's buyers stepping in right as we take out the low, that is a potential reversal point. But on some serious selling, we're going to be looking for that next level. So those are the opposing theses I have here this morning. And then the ES guys are very similar. Look at this hourly chart. You got that hourly single print, and it's just beautiful. It actually almost lines up perfectly with the 50 and 38, about as wide as it is. And that's where we had our selling pressure yesterday. It's from that same time frame anchor roughly that we saw in the NASDAQ, and this had traded on what was Tuesday, and we traded it. We never actually retested that 38. We kind of rotated out of that and just sold off into the end of the day. We'll bring up the extended session here. We have not really had any more selling pressure through that low. We have not had any more selling pressure through that low. So I'm going to take yesterday's high, draw it to that end of the day low. You can see that's where the participation on the short has come from. That's going to be your top of the range here. That's going to be your top of what my expectations would be. And if we can break that, maybe looking at that next traditional, but as far as what we have here to the downside, we're just unable to get through this like 55-15 zone. We're unable to get through this 55-15 zone. So I'm just going to actually bring this level across here right around 55-15s and continue to watch that. Or even if we push back below it here today, if we push back below 55.15, let's say we push all the way to 55.05, 10-point move below, and then get back above 55.15, I think that's going to act as a springboard. But out of the lows here, we seem to continuously be seeing buying pressure. I'm not yet quite interested in buying that next major move. This is either going to be a squeeze right off the open that's going to be really, really tough to get in, or we're going to rotate down to the bottom range. And if it's a squeeze that's tough to get in, we're just going to, this is a sloppy traditional, huge moves back and down. You'd basically be looking for a move all the way up into 55.40s, the resistance, before looking for a pullback. So that's what I have here for the indexes. Let's take it over to our commodity markets, oil and gold. Now yesterday, oil gold actually really technical, and gold's been really technical out of supports, and I keep saying that. We had a traditional trade into a news event yesterday. I believe it was Jolts, straight up to target into Jolts. We did end up having that next measure move, very technical. We've gone straight up to targets on that move as well. And as we go into the day here, we're really sitting all the way at the top of the range. What I would love to see is actually a full halfway back long for the day. If we can come down and trade that, there is a more aggressive extension here. Unfortunately, we've already traded that more aggressive extension before I got on here in my opportunity to do the morning trade plan. But those are going to be the two levels I'm watching here for GC. And then oil. Guys, oil just kind of dead in the water for me where we currently exist. I am going to draw yesterday's high to low, and you can see we're seeing some participation in a front run. That 70.14 is going to continue to be resistance. You have that higher time frame support at 68.50. I will set an alert down there. If I see some buying pressure down there, I'll be interested in it. Or even if we're slow, you can see we kind of slowed down after taking out yesterday's low. So if we were to just moderately get below yesterday's low, which is 68.80 area, 68.50, 30 ticks below that, I would look for a push below yesterday's low. I'd like to see a violent push below yesterday's low, like really hard, and then a reversal back above that before looking long. But yeah, that 68.50 massive weekly level is still below us at this point in time. And I will share these levels with you guys in the room. Everybody trade safe. Have a great day. I'll probably just be trading till 11 o'clock today. and then I got to take off. So we'll see if we can get it happening here this morning. perfect bid this morning here off that 83 so far. We're pushing up on resistance. We'll see if we can get through it. If we can, like I said, I think we're going to get all the way up to that top of the range. It'll just be, in my opinion, it's going to be a series of these highs getting taken out. If we're not holding this next measure move, there's always a possibility of us kind of running up into that. I would do the RTH traditional, which is going to take us to the overnight highs. That's going to be the next thing above us near 1900 if we push through this, and I definitely think that would provide some resistance and volatility. But so far off that higher time frame support again here this morning. That's 2 days in a row in the first 5 minutes at least. Well, I do have to admit I didn't expect it to happen that fast. It was a pretty good morning trade plan. One bar there, ladies and gentlemen. I'm looking at 15-minute chart. So 10 minutes straight up here into that resistance, 150 points basically top to bottom from that 18,833. And the ES at the same time is at its resistance if you're long. I just pulled off my longs. Has been quite a large move. We could come full halfway back here, and I'm gonna draw that full halfway back. Other than that, I'm gonna wait and see what we do. We definitely could continue, but that's a hell of a move, and I was able to really catch it all. But sometimes it's nice when things just go your way in 7, 10 minutes. kind of just running away here. I think I may just call it after that morning trade. It's because I have things to do and I don't want to get another trade after such a good open. So I will probably just be here for the morning trade plan, probably very early tomorrow, and then I'll be out. But if I see anything later in the day, I'll come get you guys. But at this point in time, we're all the way here at the top of the range. Right to where we were yesterday. That was one hell of an open here in the first 30 minutes. We've gone straight up 200 plus points, and there is no signs of stopping. The gold market has just traded its next traditional from the morning trade plan at 25.39, so that's the only setup I have right now. But I'm going to call it a day.